Jennifer, thank you so much for being here today for the League of Goddesses Spotlight. I am so excited to get to know you a little bit better and to be able to introduce you to the rest of the amazing women in the League.
I'm so excited to be here.
Awesome. Okay, so we kind of covered this, but the first questions will be quick and easy. And then as we continue on down the list, they'll get a little bit more intimate. So my first question is, do you have any nicknames?
I actually was kind of mad because I never had nicknames for the longest time. But I did start playing roller derby a couple of years ago. And so we have our derby name. And so that became my nickname among that crowd of people. So it's Torch.
Torch. Ooh, that was a good one. I'm like, I would be proud of that nickname too. I'd probably use it everywhere. That's an awesome nickname. And if you are really good at thinking these up, I just hired my husband an executive assistant, and her name just happens to be my executive assistant's name. So I was just thinking today, I'm like, what am I going to do with two crystals? How is this going to work? So we need a really good nickname, but Torch is pretty awesome. I'm like, maybe I'll steal that one and see if Crystal likes it.
It's kind of fun because you get to make up your own name, you know, when you're playing derby. And so there's this whole alter ego that people have. So yeah.
For sure. And that's just like a badass name. What's your name? I'm like, wait, whoa. That is awesome. Okay, so when is your birthday?
April 10th.
Okay. And then your favorite color?
It is blue, specifically like a light gray blue, which matches my eyes. I've read that people who have blue eyes tend to have blue as their favorite color because they always get complimented for wearing it. So
I like it. That makes sense. I haven't heard that before, but I do like it. Okay, so are you a coffee girl or a tea girl?
I would actually say neither, but if forced to pick, pick tea. I tend to drink just after not wanting to drink water with my life.
I definitely am a water girl, but if I didn't have to drink water, it would be coffee all the time, mostly.
Yeah, like caffeine and coffee gets me. It feels like I'm on some illegal drugs or something. So.
No, you're the first person I've ever heard say that, like in these interviews. Like, I'm not really either. So then, besides water, what's your drink of choice?
I literally just drink water.
You're like, I'm very healthy. I like it. Okay, so this next question, I love this one. If you could only choose one, what would it be? A podcast, book, or a blog? Book. Okay. And then what is your favorite book of all time? Like if you were going to a deserted island and you could only take one, what would it be?
So I would say it's called The Deed of Paxenarian by Elizabeth Moon, and she is actually a local Texas writer. And it's like she put 4 of her books in one. So it's kind of like the mini series in a book.
I like it. I'm not sure if my internet connection is bad or if we just have a bad connection, but the title of your book got kind of cut off. Do you mind repeating it?
Sure. It's The Deed of Paxenarian.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, lovely. And I love that it's like 4 books. So how did you find this book? Was it recommended to you?
Yeah, I mean, I was really into fantasy when I was younger. And I think the fact that she was a local author, you know, got me interested. So my husband actually met her on a train one time randomly. So that was kind of cool.
That is super cool. Nice. Okay. So then what is your favorite book? Because that one's your all-time favorite. What about right now? What are you reading right now that you were just loving?
I just read Braiding Sweetgrass by Rockenbaugh, which has been making the rounds a lot. And it spoke to a lot of the things that I love about gifting. So yeah, that's my definite favorite for the past couple of years.
That's awesome. Okay, so now can you tell me a little bit about your business and why you love it so much?
So I have tried many careers. Like I was a teacher and a dog trainer and a stay-at-home mom. And then I was like, what else do I want to do? So my business is to help other moms, usually who are busy, because who knows a mom who isn't busy, to cut through the internet and internal clutter to make sustainable life changes. Because I feel like when we have kids, a lot of us want to make the world a better place for our kids, or we start realizing that these things we grew up with or patterns that we have aren't working. But then that's when you have the least stuff to make the change. Because you have to, keep this kid alive. So I really love to gather information in these cheat sheets And I do classes and stuff as well. But, like a 1-page, like here's everything you need to know about X, Y, and Z. And you can go links to get information in podcast format or written format or video format. So whatever medium works best for you, and just, get you out the door and get you doing what you need to do.
Oh, I love it. And I love that you offer it in different formats because we're all different, and sometimes I feel like in my own journey, maybe somebody has told me these things before, just in a different way, and it didn't impact. And so it's like, then you, for some reason, one of the times it does, you're like, oh shit, I think I had heard that before. So yeah, how cool that you're able to adjust and kind of meet women where they're at, because I think you're so right when you realize like, oh, this shit I've been doing isn't working anymore. And then you're like, what time do you have to do that now that you have to keep 1, 2, or maybe 3 kids alive? So what a cool job. And,
there's so much information. I mean, I started and I was like, oh, I could blog. And I was like, but why should I blog? It's all out there. Like we just need to organize it because there is no like internet librarian.
Yeah. So. Super cool. And what is the name of your company? I forgot to.
It's called the Mindful Materialist.
Ooh, I like it.
A lot of
very
names.
Much. Okay. So I'm curious now if these two things play together, what is your bliss? Like the thing that makes you most happy?
It would, I was hard to pick just one. I really love being outside in nature and reading. And I think that ties into my business for sure, in terms of if we don't appreciate nature, then why do we want to save it? Mm-hmm. And so if you never get to go outside, then why are you going to want to pick up trash? But going out in nature and seeing all the trash and seeing all the kids who were stuck behind their screens instead of being outside really made me want to do something about that. And then the other random bliss is roller skating and playing derby. Not related at all to my job.
I don't care. I love it. I'm like, I love it. What a wide variety you cover. You remind me of myself. I'm like, oh, I love to bake. And then please put me outside and let me go shooting. Like just the extremes. And it's so cool that you can meet other women in the league that are like that and other women that enjoy the same things regardless of how varied they are. So super cool. Thank you for sharing those. So my next question, I'm going to pivot a little bit, but it is, why did you join the League of Goddesses?
So when I was thinking about starting a business, I found a entrepreneur class, and it was totally focused on healing businesses and women. And so I've gotten to do circles with them, and it's just been so empowering to be around other women and bouncing ideas off them. And I think historically in my life, I hung out with the guys more than the women, and it's a totally different energy. So I really love helping to support other women and helping people get the word out, and also just, teaching other people what little bit I can.
I like it. And you hit the nail on the head. Guys are awesome, but it is a different energy. And it's no matter how much they want to, they don't really understand you. They try. But it's like, you'll never understand what it's like, to carry around a kid for 9 months, or any of the other responsibilities that we have that are 100% feminine. So it's really cool to just be able to meet women and know that there's so much you don't have to say because they just get it and they can meet you where you are. Okay. So now tell me, what do you hope to attain from the League?
More connections to people. I think that what has been so valuable is every time my business circle, I learn about what the other women are doing, and then I want to take their classes and help them out. But I think it's just, especially with small businesses, like we need to help support each other. And when you're working with people, you're going to find things that you connect with, but also like, oh, you're really interested in this. Like I have this other friend who does that, and give you a connection, which means so much more if there's a trust factor there already.
I couldn't agree with you more. It's like, that is the first thing I do. Who can I find in my network that either is what I need or knows someone I need? Because I will so much easier and quicker give my money to someone that I know or my friend knows, just because it's like, oh, automatically trust them. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but it does seem to feel that that's how it goes. And mostly, honestly, if I really think about it, I don't think I've been burned that way. So that's probably why we tend.
Well, there's so much, community is my huge passion. And like, that's what I'm trying to get to, is helping people create communities. And when you're in a small community, there is like, okay, if you burn me, everybody else is going to know about it because I'm going to tell them, versus if this, huge corporation doesn't send me the right thing, there's no way I can nobody cares. And like, I'm not getting feedback. So yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. My next question is going to be, what do you hope to contribute to the league?
I would love to contribute if people are having classes or kind of learning things that they're trying to do. Like I love being guinea pigs for that and giving feedback. And just, anytime I have someone else that I can connect somebody to, I love to do that too, because I think it helps us all.
That is awesome and noted. I'm like, oh, she likes to give feedback, because that is something, it's so invaluable. It's just like, who do you ask those questions to? Because if somebody's really going to give you feedback, it actually is an effort. You have to really take in what they're doing and assimilate the information and then decide like, hey, this could have been better or that could have been better. And so got you. Like, you're going to start getting messages from me. I'm like, Jennifer, what did you think of this? What did you think?
Organizing the chaos is how I often think about it. And it's not that it's always chaotic, but it's just, we all have our own thought processes, and sometimes it makes sense to other people and sometimes it doesn't. So
I am so guilty of that, because you're like, you just assume everybody knows what you know. And I think that's the biggest mistake, right? Like, well, actually no one knows what you're talking about, and go in more detail, please.
But it's hard to go back to where you didn't know any of that to do the class. So.
Yeah, I think that's such a big part of being able to meet people where they are, right? And really makes you a good teacher if you're able to remember, hey, what was it like 5 years ago when I was there? And I think that's the thing that disappears the quickest, because we're all striving to move forward. So lots of times we forget to look back and document, if you will. So that's kind of what you are really, really good at, because you're the amalgamator of information, right?
My goal, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, that is phenomenal. Well, how cool. Okay, so now can you tell me who is important in your life?
Definitely my kids, and they have been my biggest teacher too. I got a kid who is a polar opposite of me, and I would have never worked on myself as much if I didn't have to survive being small. And then my parents have been a huge source of support. And then recently, in the past year, a lot of women popped back into my life, and so
nice.
Friends, yeah.
Beautiful. How many kids do you have, if you want to share?
I have 2 kids. They are both boys. Yeah.
Fun. I bet they love your nickname. Do they call you it?
No. Strange. They have really nervy stuff because they can't say, not that you have to, but whoever's going to watch them doesn't get to watch anything. So.
Gotcha. Okay. So this next question, I always like to see which way people want to go, because you can take it 2 ways. The question is, what dream have you made come true? And this dream could either be for yourself or maybe a dream of someone else's that you made come true.
So I think it was kind of my own dream, but also other people's. So I have volunteered for the past almost 6 years with the Buy Nothing Project. And it's hyper-local economy groups through Facebook that are gifting. So basically you have these people in your neighborhood and you just give stuff to each other for free. But there's, thousands of groups. And so we didn't have an admin training. So it's just kind of like people sign up to do the group and then they're creating a group, but they don't really know what they're doing. So I was able to create admin, and now we have like 1,000 people a month go through the training. And we had to use Facebook. So it's randomly complicated because Facebook is not designed for that. So I think it was a dream of mine to get to finally do that, but also many other people that volunteer, where it was like, we need some kind of training. And so kind of both.
That is just super cool. So it's basically like you just give to each other stuff that you don't need and someone else might need it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing. It's kind of where I am today.
That is awesome. I'm like, well, I've never heard of that. I mean, obviously heard of it as, friend to friend, but like actually doing it on the internet, I've never heard of it, but how cool. So
yeah, it's kind of like a Buy Nothing, people have a Buy Nothing year. And so this is like a project that was started probably after that whole, thing, but it's all related. So.
How cool. Awesome. Okay. So can you tell me, what does your heart most desire at this time? If you had a wish and we could make it come true, what would it be?
I would love to live in an intentional community where we all had like a shared space, kind of like an apartment, but where people actually use the common house and common room. And we took care of each other's kids if we needed to. And we shared outdoor space, so that it was kind of like what I think of as like village life before. Co-housing is another word for it. So that's yeah.
I like it. That's beautiful. Are you doing anything to try to help that vision come true? Like, is that a goal of yours or?
Yeah, I was in a co-housing group in Austin for about 2.5 years. It's just really hard. You can't build something like that because there's so many restrictions, and then funding, because you have to fund it all yourself. And then you're working with a group of people who none of whom know what they're doing to get to that point because they're not builders.
Yeah.
So I still think it'll happen in a certain way, but I have some friends working on another kind of community, which is similar. So I think my dream will have to adapt to whatever makes the most sense. But yeah.
Super cool. It's still really awesome. I'm like, dude, that is awesome. Okay. So now tell me, if you were Jennifer and you were describing Jennifer to someone, how would you describe yourself?
Oh, the ego so gets in the way for this question. I think I would describe myself as a good listener who wants to offer assistance in many cases, and can also just hold space for you to have your own feelings.
That is a beautiful friend, like a beautiful description of a friend, a listener and someone who can hold space. I think that's so important in this day and age where everybody moves so quickly, and everyone's attention spans are becoming, it appears, shorter and shorter. So to be able to just stop it and hold is a beautiful gift. So I'm sure your friends just admire and adore you for that. My next question is, and this one's a little bit deeper, so I always enjoy these next 3 questions. What vision do you have for the future of humanity?
I really think that we got too big. And so we need to go back to smaller local economies because, even just if you look at school systems, right? Like the ISD that I live in is like hundreds of thousands of people. And so they have to make decisions based on every single child that goes there versus the charter school that my son goes to is only 500 kids. And so they can be more adaptable and also move a lot faster. And like I said earlier, like there's the direct feedback when you actually know the people and you see the people and you have to interact with them. You can't be a jerk as easily. So I think we need to go back to that and like taking all these amazing concepts that people have in different communities and adapting them to where we live. I can't even buy things locally sometimes because the local businesses have been shut out. So that doesn't work.
That is such a unique answer. I haven't heard it before. And as you were saying it, I was thinking about it and I'm like, you're right. So much of what we do and so many of the people that we interact with, we really don't have a connection with them. So if you don't just naturally tend to veer towards the kind and gracious and care about how your actions impact others, then you really don't see the repercussions. So I'd imagine, especially for children, as it's gotten bigger and bigger, that's probably really hard because they don't see the end result very often, That's a very unique perspective. And I really enjoyed it. Go ahead.
There's a lady who has a whole World Localization Day. So it's not a new, like I didn't make this concept.
Yeah, that's still so super cool to me. Have you implemented any actions into your business to try to help create that vision?
Well, so my ultimate goal is to get moms and help them be sustainable. But then through the classes in the program is to help them then take those ideas and implement them in their life and their community. So, whether that's by starting a buy nothing group or starting like a seed sharing group or, whatever their passion is that they want to share is to start that with the people around them. And I think that's what gets the local communities connected and supplying each other with the things they need.
It's beautiful. And then my last question around this little one that we've gone down the rabbit hole on because I keep asking questions is going to be how does it affect your decision making? So knowing that you want everything to be, more close knit, how does it affect your decision making, not only in your personal life, but also for your business?
I think trying to reach out in my personal life to people that are already around me, because I volunteered with people all over the world, like I feel like I'm reaching, these random people, these ideas, but I don't have physical location same type of group of people. So I've started to make some over the past year. So definitely trying to offer assistance in the things that I know that I do well to people that are doing things around my area, just to get a foot in the door and also help them take off, because I feel like it will help us all. And that's, business and just life, like finding local businesses that I can support that actually have the things I want and promoting them to my friends.
Yeah, beautiful. I like how you tie it in. Okay, so we're at my last question, and it is, if you could share one piece of information or a tip or maybe advice that someone shared with you that just rocked your world or adjusted your paradigm, what would it be?
It would be that many of these things we are given, both physical and just tips, are gifts. And if we don't pass them along to somebody else, then they kind of die out. So I think of the world as like this just cycle of stuff going around, and if we can pass it on, then it helps somebody else and makes another ripple. And again, like physical stuff or just, advice or help. So paying it forward is the other way to say it.
Oh, I love it. Jennifer, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me. I really enjoyed getting to know you. And I feel like you offer just such a unique perspective of things. And so I'm really excited to be able to introduce you to the other ladies. I know that they're going to enjoy getting to know you as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you.